Welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts. The big build-up to Arsenal versus Manchester City tonight. All the latest team news for you. We're talking Man United. Are they in a title race? Bid, expect, or already in really from Qatar. They've walked away from Liverpool to buy Man United. We're delving into that. Dortmund versus Chelsea. And of course, the fallout from Tottenham losing. I'm joined by the brilliant, the wonderful, the beautiful Jessica Black. How are you?
I'm okay. Obviously, the news that just broke is pretty distressing, but I'm okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we decided to do the stream in different. I decided to do the stream in different rooms. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier because I know you're worried about tonight, and we'll get into Arsenal a little bit later on the show. Viewers, any other subjects you want us to talk about today? There's Tottenham's potential takeover as well. Anything you want us to discuss? Get your questions in now. Ask us our opinions on them. Of course, we'll always prioritize our member chats and our super chats. You do wonders supporting the Football Terrace platform now and over the years. Claire here says, "Good afternoon, Terry. Welcome back, Jessica." Yeah, it's been a while since you've been on. Like even sort of the Arsenal games. Obviously, you were working with Arsenal at the weekend. You were with you were on the Arsenal show, The Breakdown, weren't you? That's why you weren't here.
Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, the result wasn't what we expected, but yeah, like it was fun. But I'm back, so
yeah, absolutely. Where do we start today then? What do we start with talking wise? Do you know what I'll start with? Let's start with Manchester United. Let's get the Man United chat out the way here. Do you think Man United fans should be talking about title races? Because all I've got in the last 2 days on here is people saying to me, "A Man United in a title race, Terry. A Man United in a title race, Terry. A Man United in a title race, Terry." Do you think Man United fans should look at themselves as in this title race?
I think they already do. They just want somebody else to say it. I mean, I don't see Man United fans really sitting there acting like they're not in a title race. So most of the Manchester United talk that I see on socials is, we're coming, watch out, Arsenal, Man City. Once Arsenal lose to Manchester City, it's just going to be us and it's going to be the two Manchester clubs. So as much as I feel like some big United fans are trying to play it down, I think underlying, they do feel like they're in a title race and they're just waiting on the right moment for it to feel really obvious. But anybody that's like 6, 7, 8 points behind, the leaders would be considered in a title race, right? So yeah, that's kind of my answer for it. I feel like Manchester United fans either need to grow chest or, stop talking about it,
What United fans are you talking about though, Jay? Because obviously you live with one, and I'm not talking about it. So who are these Man United fans, and that you think are kind of semi talking about it, but not really? Like, who are they?
I mean, I don't know them. I'm said on socials. I don't know them personally. So, but I feel like United fans are talking about it. Whenever an Arsenal fan posts something, they're like, "You're going to drop points and we're going to be right in the title race with you." I don't know them personally, but I would imagine that, those are actual United fans. I don't need to know them personally to know that they feel like they're in it. They just want the perfect opportunity. I think had you guys beat Leeds, or beat Crystal Palace midweek and then beat us, then you guys would have, even if you guys had drawn, I think you guys would have started saying it. So it's just about timing, I think.
I understand that to a degree. I would say we're in a title race if we'd have beaten Palace and beaten Leeds, because then we'd be sitting there now on 450 points. We'd be a point behind you. We'd be 2 points ahead of Man City, and we'd be in a situation where, like, we were a win away from being on top of the league, as an example. One win for us and a defeat for you, and we'd be top. The problem that I have with saying we're in a title race is I'm not convinced that Man United, have got the ability or mentality yet to not just catch Arsenal and overtake City, but then maintain that. We're only a year into this rebuild. We haven't won a title in a decade, and it's been a long time since we haven't been in a title race for 10 years, let alone anything else. And I haven't seen enough evidence this year of a complete mentality shift, like I feel like I've seen with Arsenal. And though that Palace and that Leeds game were tough midweek fixtures in the middle of really important games, and we just in both of them we came up short. In both of them we were the better team. In both of them we should have won, and we didn't. And I look at Arsenal this season. I give you a prime example. City dropped points to Man United. You had to go away to White Hart Lane, where you never win in the modern day era. In the last sort of 10 years, you barely win there, and you went and got the job done, and you were comprehensive winners of that game. I'd need to see a few more times from Man. You know, if Arsenal and City draw today and then both drop points again at the weekend, I expect us to go and beat Leicester, irrespective of playing Barcelona tomorrow, if that makes sense. Maybe then my mind will be changed. What I will say about Man United is we are another preseason away and the right signings away from being in the title race. And I believe with the new owners coming in, and it looks like right now, it looks like it very much could be the Qataris. And they're talking about coming in and putting all their resources behind us, all their commercial power behind us, regenerating the stadium, 100,000 seater, new training facilities, everything upgraded, the jacuzzi, maybe even a new chef. You know, Ronaldo's going to be gutted that he left. If Man United get that, plus what we'll buy with those owners in the summer, no more debt, we are 100% in the title race next year. I think we could even win the Premier League next year, just with how we're playing now and what's coming. I just think it's a little bit too early for us. As I say, only being kind of 12 months into this rebuild, as it were. But like, I'm so psyched and I'm so infused and I'm so excited about the future for Man United now. And I would say probably this time last year, it was feeling really, really bleak. There was no sign of the Glazers leaving. Fans weren't willing to do what was necessary. The good thing is they've run it so badly that the money ran out. And because the money ran out, they've decided to sell. And United could be getting these new Qatari owners in. And, you know, what kind of impact do you think that kind of money is going to have on the Premier League and of course, to Manchester United?
Well, I think that's what any Man United fan wants, is somebody that's going to come in and spend money. But you've always spent money. So it's about if they're going to spend it smart on the right players at the right time. Look at how Newcastle has come in. Like, they have all the money to spend, but they're not just spending it willy-nilly, getting old players from, you know, other teams and just integrating them in, and they don't really fit the system, or they don't really fit the ethos. Like, they're doing a really kind of smart way of doing it. And even Manchester City, like, they did it smart as well. They obviously had some trial and error early on, but even if you look at like PSG last night, they have financial backing, but because of the way that it's been run, it hasn't been as successful as I think that they envisioned. So from my perspective, it's all about money is always going to come into the Premier League. There's going to be takeovers, because this is where everybody wants to be. But every takeover is not the same, and the money needs to be spent smartly. Will the Qataris do it? Probably. And that does present, like, you know, a very strong kind of Manchester United that we probably haven't seen in a long time, which is kind of like, oh no, like, they've been bad for so long. Now look what's going to happen, you know? But yeah, I think this is what Manchester United fans want. They want another ownership group that's not like the Glazers, who are just going to like not really put their own money in. They want somebody that's going to put the money in, but also spend it smart. And maybe the Qataris are just that.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree with you on that. This isn't about having money. And I've seen a lot of United fans go, oh, we're going to be super rich. We're going to be richer than we were because there'll be no debt. And that gives us an extra 100 to 150 million pounds a year to spend on players, which is colossal. But it's about spending the money wisely. And the irony in this is, I know some people have still got issues with Myrtle, still got issues with the people running the club now, sort of day-to-day board level. But they were the majority of football people. The Woodward and a lot of his cronies left, and it's majority football people running it now. And within 8-9 months of football people running the club, we're on the edge of a title race, playing the best football we've done since Fergie. We've looked at the dressing room, the connection between the fans and the players. It's the best it's been in a decade. I feel like if you throw the only fear factor, the only worry is if they come in and try and undo that. If they come in and they try to undo that, and all right, we're going to get rid of everything that's going well and bring in all our own people, that could be a slight issue. My hope is that they keep the majority of what's at the club now and slowly add quality to it. We've seen Chelsea do a mass overhaul, and it means you just go back to complete square one, and it takes time to build things up. But I think it will be a good transition for us. And I think the club being sold is part of the reason there's been an uplift from these players as well. They know what's coming down the line. They'll be getting briefed. They'll be getting told. And I've said this, and it's become kind of a coin phrase in the football terrace, but rivals need to be scared. Rivals need to be scared of Man United debt-free with competent owners. And people can point at PSG and go, well, they're not a well-run club. Same people owning it. It's because it's in a league that no one gives a damn about. And I don't care how harsh I sound. France, for the last 2 decades, has been great for developing young talent that then gets sold to the rest of Europe. The fact that they've got one team there that spends like PSG do, they bring in all these super talents from around the world, but there's no competitive nature to their league. And they actually lost at the weekend, but look at the level of players they dropped to rest for a Champions League game. Now they lost this match, but go back over the last 10 years and look at the way they rotate before a Champions League game. You can't even do that in England. If Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal or Tottenham at their best rotated 10 players out of their team on a Saturday to play a mid-table team in England, you're losing. You can't do it. Invariably, PSG win. Even with in a bad season in France, PSG still pick up pretty much every single trophy. I feel like the Qatari owners want to own a club or I'm going to call it this, a proper competitive league. And I think that once they're in, absolute sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for Manchester United. And I'm all for it because we've had nearly 2 decades of atrocious owners who have sucked the life and soul out of the football club. Fergie, for 9 years, kept us alive, kept our heads above water. Since then, it fell apart. And, when Newcastle got their owners, I didn't bitch about it because I said, look, that club, again, has been mistreated by... It's funny, you get like some of the pundits recently talk about all these foreign imposters. Do they really care? Well, look at Mike Ashley. He wasn't foreign. He was English. He bought Newcastle, and look what he did to him. There are English owners of clubs that have ruined their football clubs as well. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I'm very, very excited. Viewers, what do you think? Man United with new owners, good, bad, indifferent? Let me know. We have a super chat here that says, Terry, how was your Valentine's? It was nice. It was nice. Nice bit of dinner. It was nice. That's what I'm going to say. It's a nice Valentine's. Thank you very, very much, Marshall. Thank you much indeed. Farouk, thank you for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. Thank you. Good afternoon to you both. Question, Terry, what's the UEFA investigation on Liverpool versus Real Madrid about? That's all to do with the access to the stadium, I believe. And I think it's already been ruled by UEFA that Liverpool fans were not at fault in any capacity for the problems of getting people into the ground. France have essentially admitted that they didn't have things organized correctly. That is what I saw there. Sharek says, we've got a foot in the door in this race. For us to step in, City and Arsenal need to drop major points. 4+ is what Sharek says there. Yeah, I agree with you. Hypocrisy. You Arsenal fans get the same thing. Josh, I respect you. You're a regular super chat. I don't quite know what you're referring to. Please come back and let us know what it is you were referring to. When I say just nice, that it was lovely, but it's my private life, and I'm going to keep that private. So yeah, it was very nice indeed. It was very, very nice indeed. Delts here says, bring it on. Arsenal versus United clashing in the greatest era. The others have had their fun. It would be. Would you like a Man United Arsenal rivalry to be would you like United and Arsenal to be the number 1, number 2 teams in England again for a period, Jess? Would that excite you?
I mean, I prefer Arsenal to just go through like a period of dominance where everybody falls away and it can just be us. Like, I don't care. Like, you guys know I'm shameless. Like, as damaged as the other teams can be, that's the best. That's what I prefer. But if I had to choose one team to go into war against, it probably would be Manchester United. That's the era that I grew up on. And so, yeah. And I feel like it just feels right. Pep and Klopp have been it's been so sterile and boring. But I haven't really seen Ten Hag get dragged into any drama either, so I'm not sure if he's about that life either. I like a little bit of spice, but I just think in terms of like what we saw against Manchester United, Arsenal, those 2 games for me, I think show that these 2 teams are ready to kind of battle each other for coming years. So it is exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is exciting. I again, there's always right. I mean, I would love 3 to 4 horse races. So I love the Premier League era from kind of 04 through to sort of 2013. That era for me felt predominantly. There's a few years where it wasn't, but you'd go into every season and it would be a case of Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea. Any one of those teams could have won the Champions League, and it made the Premier League, in my opinion, more competitive day in, day out as well. We haven't had that. A lot of people, especially City fans, claim that this has been the greatest era that the Premier League has ever seen. For me, I completely disagree. I think that era was because maybe teams weren't getting as many points in the Premier League, but we have over this last 5 or 6 years, City and Liverpool have been the only two teams really that at the beginning of seasons, anybody's gone, oh yeah, they could do a job or they could win something or they're a threat in Europe as well. Most seasons it's just City and or one other person have been tipped to maybe be able to win the title, if that makes sense. We just haven't had that we haven't had a Premier League for a long time now where 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are being predicted of maybe being able to win it. That's what I ideally want to
Yeah,
come back. But if
but
Man
also,
United, sorry, go on.
but like even like social wise, like as maybe I know people don't like hearing this, but Manchester United and Arsenal have two of the biggest fan bases online. So having those two fan bases engaged in big matches, games that really matter, things like that is important. Like I don't know. Did you guys, I mean, at the Emirates the other day when we played against Manchester United, that was probably the most exciting game of the season in terms of everybody was interested. There were celebrities there. Is insane. The fan bases just haven't been as engaged because the teams haven't been as good. So I
Mm.
just feel like obviously that's going to throw things into the mix and make it different. Obviously, like an emerging Chelsea as well. And if Liverpool could, sustain and kind of like come back up as well, we could have some really interesting years coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you couple in as well, Spurs are maybe on the edge of being sold as well, which I think some people will look at as crazy. I mean, they may have a new big American bidder in there as well. And by the way, some breaking news just out from Miguel Delaney. Man United will be sold to Qatar. That is what he has stated here. He says some figures are absolutely incessant that a bid from the state will come, with others even naming the Qatar Investment Authority, QIA. Manchester United will be sold to Qatar. So I mean, that's again, I think that's part of an engaged fan base believing, and I think with new owners, Man United's fan base will believe deeply they can win. If Spurs get a takeover and get new owners in that want to spend money, Liverpool are still trying to be sold. Arsenal are already back. Arsenal are already challenging for titles. City are going absolutely nowhere. But I think you're right. With Man United and Arsenal fans, we have such big online presences. I kind of feel like Liverpool fans tend to not engage too much. They kind of just sort of siphon themselves off. City just don't have a big fan base in general, and I don't mean that as a dig. And by the way, if Chelsea return to the fore, if Chelsea start playing, they've got a huge online fan base as well. And if you have Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea all together challenging for titles, it'll be like nothing we've seen from a social media standpoint. And we're all involved in social media. We all work on social media. So it's going to be huge. And I'll tell you one other thing about Man United's takeover as well. And I'm going to make this claim now. If Man United do get taken over by the Qataris, Man United will sign Kylian Mbappe. 110%. We will get, what is it Daniel Sturridge calls him? Killy. He will come to Manchester United. We will pay the money. We will be able to afford the wages. Just what we pay in interest payments per year can afford to pay for two Mbappe's wages. Like, I don't think people realize how much money. This is why when people say, "Oh, the Glazers still spent money," they did, but they cost us £2 billion. What they were taking in dividends and interest payments per year can afford two Mbappe level players in terms of salary. Now, of course, the club's got to be run right. The structure's got to be correct. The discipline's got to be there. The manager's got to have control of that dressing room. These things are key. And I don't want an Mbappe. I don't want an Mbappe if he's not here for the right reasons. That's me personally. But the idea that Man United will be able to go out this summer and say, listen, Jude, Mbappe, Harry Kane, you three are all coming to Manchester United. We're buying you all now. There's the wages. There's the 2, 3, 4, 500 grand a week that players of your ilk can kind of warrant. United can do this, and I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited about what's to come, and I don't care. This is why I've never slagged any other club off for having these kind of owners either, because I was always going to be shameless and happy if it came in. But Mbappe to Man United, how would you feel about that one, Jay?
Well, where's Rashford going? Because they play the exact same position. So
one left, one right. Rashford on the right, Mbappe left.
Rashford's not good on the right. That's not happening.
Rashford plays on the left, or maybe Rashford goes central.
He doesn't like playing central.
Mbappe started the majority of games this season central. To be fair,
he doesn't like playing central.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I get it. I get it. I get what you're trying to say. I doubt it.
Who doesn't?
I doubt it. I doubt it'll happen.
Who doesn't?
I doubt it.
Who doesn't like playing central? Who doesn't like playing central?
Mbappe.
He plays all the time.
Yeah, you can play somewhere that you don't like to play. Like, come on, like.
I watch French football. He loves it. He loves it.
Well, I will give you $1,000 if Mbappe plays for Manchester United.
You'll give me £1,000 if Man United sign Mbappe.
Yeah, because you guys aren't signing him. You guys already have Rashford. Be for real. That's the type of squad building that you guys would like because you'd have all these players. But like for me, that's just like, what? Hello, what are you guys doing? But
so you think if Man United signed Mbappe, it would be a bad signing?
I don't think it'd be a bad signing, but I think it calls into question all this Rashford is just as good as Mbappe nonsense. You have the best left wing in Europe, don't you? So why'd you bring in Mbappe? Why do you need him?
We do right now, but we all know that Mbappe is better than Rashford.
Oh, well, that's not what I've been told over the last couple of weeks.
Again, you follow United fans that don't have names or faces.
No, you said that. You said that yesterday.
On form, he's better than him right now, but I've never said he's better than him overall, did I?
Okay, so in your mind, Manchester United are going to buy Harry Kane, Mbappe, and who else?
Jude Bellingham.
Okay.
But what I said is I use those players as an example.
No, you said they would come and that's what's happening.
No, I didn't say that is happening. I said that's what we can go out and do. Man United would have the ability. No, I'm not backtracking. I'm making a point here that we would have the money to sign 3 players of that level in one summer because we could afford to now. As much as we used to spend.
Oh, that's not what it sounded like. It sounded like you said if we get Qatari owners, Mbappe will play for Manchester United. That's what I heard.
I think Mbappe may. I think Mbappe may play for Man United.
Okay, definitely. So the bet is on £1,000.
Okay, you can. Yeah, if he plays for us, you'll pay us £1,000. Fair enough.
I'm probably gonna have that £1,000 in my bank account for a long time. It's not.
Let's just see. Let's just see. Like I think it's there. When I gave out, I did say Mbappe could join Man United. I did, but when I threw the other names in there, I was purely talking about United suddenly having the money and the ability to bring in those types of players. United have always had the funds to sign players at that level in terms of the transfer fees, but it's been the wages that we've struggled with. Equally, though, what I really want and what the most important thing is to ensure the structure of the club is still where it is. But in terms of saying Rashford is better than Mbappe, I haven't said that. What I've stated is that on form right now, Rashford is the best attacker in the world. Have I not? Jay, have I not said that? Have I said that, Jay?
You just were saying some things yesterday or the day before about like, so Rashford.
So what did I say? What were my actual words about Marcus Rashford?
That he's the best on form and all that kind of stuff. But you did say that Mbappe will play for Manchester United if the Qataris.
Yeah, and I think there's a really good chance.
Okay.
I think he could play for us.
And we know what the bet is.
Well, I guess fine, but there's 2 different conversations going on here. We've ended one. I have definitely said that I think with Qatari owners we could sign Mbappe. You said, why do you need him with Rashford? And I'm trying to ascertain who has said to you that Rashford is better overall than Mbappe.
Well, you insinuated that Mbappe could never, I get that, but that's not exactly what you said. So, okay, you didn't say it, but there are Manchester United fans that consistently come for Mbappe whenever Rashford is on form. And we all know this. So
again, but what United fans, what are their names? Who are they?
I don't need to know their names. It's just like you guys go Arsenal fans, like in totality. And then it's like Patrick Timmins or somebody like that. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing is that I ask you if you agree. I'll say, Patrick Timmins said this. Do you agree with it? I'm not saying you said it as well, but I never said that about Mbappe. There we go. What do you mean I lie, Terry? You said Mbappe will play for Man United. I think he may. I very much think he may play for Manchester United if the Qatari owners come in. We have some super chats here. First one says, I'll go to the Arsenal stuff when we're talking Arsenal. There's no point bringing it up now as we end up switching between subjects. Like a famous man once said, you're in cuckoo land. But make me understand why it's... People try and make me understand why, with new billionaire owners and no debt, Man United couldn't sign Mbappe. If you can tell me why we can't, not that you think we won't, but why it's impossible. Remember, every time we've been linked to a big player in the last 10 years, everyone said, no chance they'll sign for you. Why with no debt, brilliant manager, club moving forward, new owners, why is it impossible that Mbappe signs Blaze? I'd love to know your thoughts and your feelings on that. Honesty here says, imagine Newcastle wins the Premier League on a miracle man like Almiron winning the Premier League would be funny. Already more titles than Kane. Newcastle won't winning it this year, but if they win it before Tottenham, it is kind of funny. It really, really is. It really, really is. So I'm just going to start some of these. There's a lot of Arsenal super chats that I know you've already put them in. We'll come back to them later in the show when we move on to Arsenal. But again, Baths, he won't go there. That isn't an answer, G. I want to know why. I want the rationale. Remember, in life, this is a life lesson for everybody. The what is not important in life. What you think, what you do, no one cares about. How you do it is a little more interesting. Why? The why is the focus here. So why would Mbappe not come to Man United? Because that's where we ascertain from people whether you are just saying no, he won't because you're bitter, or whether there's a genuine reason as to why you don't think it will happen. So you need to explain the why behind what you think. If you can't, I won't take it too seriously, because for me, it's just you saying no chance, but you're just throwing that out there because you're worried about it happening. FFP, Terry. Man United won't have FFP problems with the new owners. It's just not going to be a problem. Man United, like I just said, 150 million pounds a year goes on interest and dividends. Mbappe's not going to... What is that per week if we divided that by weeks and salary-wise, right? So suddenly we're going to have no debt, and we're going to have 150 million pound a year extra in our bank accounts because there's no debt and no dividends. That's 2.8 million pound a week. Mbappe's good. Even if you paid Mbappe £1 million a week, we're still making profits. You have to understand how rich Man United are without the Glazers. Come on now, my friends. Come on now. Make sure like buttons are being smashed and that you are subscribing to the Football Terrace. Winnerpool here says, Terry, there are better teams and projects in England, not Europa League regular clubs. Yeah, but Man United will be a Champions League team next year. So, yeah, I don't think that will be a problem. Why do you think Mbappe will come to United, Terry? What's your rationale? I think that Man United are one of the biggest and most attractive clubs in the world. But I think having solid owners, no debt, a great project, a board that will be put together that's there to win, and of course having the financial ability, unlike a lot of our European counterparts who are desperate for the Super League because they have no money, to be able to pay for the world's best talent to come here. I mean, we won't be the only club. The Premier League clubs are all going to be doing that. So I think you add all those things together, the football, the money. Let's not kid ourselves. Footballers are attracted to money. The football project, the financial side of things, and being Manchester United back in the Champions League, of course that's going to be attractive to Mbappe. Real Madrid are definitely leading the way, but I think the owners, who, by the way, he knows already, he has a great relationship with the Qataris, that could play a massive factor in it as well. I think there's a genuine chance that United could go out and sign him, personally. Blue Viper here says, United fans, without a doubt, the most delusional fan base in the world. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's not like when City got their takeover. I remember you guys celebrating outside the ground because you knew what was going to come. Why are United fans deluded for thinking the same thing? Terry, how would Rashford and Mbappe coexist in the same team as both play their best football on the left? Well, we'll see. And my view is this: Rashford's amazing, but if you can bring in Mbappe and Mbappe outplays him and outscores him and outperforms him, and Man United are winning, I don't care. I don't believe in this. If you sign Joe Bloggs, it will stop. It will block the progression of this player or that player. You sign the best players you can, as long as they've got the right football ability and the right attitude and ethos, and they're not going to mess your dressing room up. There's never a reason to not sign the best players in the world. Simple and straightforward as that. So, yeah, I don't care. Someone, what about Garnacho's development? Don't care about Garnacho's development.
Unless you have a almost world-class player playing in that position already. But
maybe. Well, what about Garnacho? Listen, if Garnacho is going to be good enough, if Mbappe is an opportunity to be signed, you sign him because he's better than Garnacho. That's it. And then Garnacho then has to work out a way of getting into this team. If there's a chance to sign Mbappe, you sign him. You don't just go, listen, we won't sign the best player in the world because Garnacho might become the best player in the world. No one would do that. It's like Arsenal. Oh, by the way, you can have the best midfielder in the world, or you can keep developing Patino. You're going to go and buy the best guy in the world. That's what you're going to go and do.
That's not what we're talking about, though. We're not talking about blocking a young kid's progression. We're talking about
that super chat. Sorry, was about Garnacho.
I know, but I'm saying that what we're talking about is like I said that if you have like a world-class player, like people think Rashford is world-class or about to be an elite level player, you're not going to bring in Mbappe. You're just not. Like if you have that player already in that position, even if you think they can exist within the same squad, they both are left wingers. Like I just don't see it. Now Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, that's different, but Mbappe and Rashford just seems like an overload. But that's just me.
I understand I do understand where you're coming from. But I think it's something that Man United will look at. I think it's something the Qataris will look at. His mind is still on Real Madrid is where he wants to go. That's where he's wanted to be. But United getting taken over by them could massively change it. In terms of Mbappe's career, though, just looking at his entire career, international, Monaco and PSG, 60 games played at left wing, 60 games played at right wing, 185 games starting as a centre forward. So the majority of his career has been a centre forward as opposed to on the wings. Let's have a look at some more of these super chats here.
Okay.
I'm just reading out the facts about where he plays.
But I didn't say he doesn't play central. Like that's not what I said.
I didn't say you did. I'm relax your brain. I just read.
My brain is relaxed. It's just you're reading out something that doesn't really change the fact that like if he came in, he'd be a left winger. That is the position that he plays, even though he plays centrally sometimes. Like, where does he play for France?
But he doesn't play centrally sometimes. The vast majority, nearly 200 of his games.
Okay, the vast majority. But in the chat, is Mbappe a center forward or is he a left winger in your eyes? That's what I want to know. Because I feel like he is a left winger. Plays off the left. Doesn't like to play central. And I feel like that's documented.
I'd love to. What I'd love to see, and I'm not even doubting you here. I'd love to see where he said he doesn't like to play central. I've never personally read that, but I'd like to see. I know he drifts to the left-hand side, but I'm sure our manager has got the tactical ability to work it out if we were to bring him in. Let's have a look at this super chat. Mbappe could go to Real Madrid, but hang up his image rights for a deal. But if he goes to United, Lord have mercy, the league will be even better. Not going to lie. It would be a great signing for Man United, but United will be able to do a lot of business. You know, as I say, Jude Bellingham's become a genuine possibility purely from a financial standpoint, and equally with new owners, no debt. I don't think it'll be a massive overhaul on the board. I think there'll be some additions made. I think a world-class footballing director will come in. Someone like a Paul Mitchell, somebody like a Martin Edwards, somebody of that kind of level would come in as well, I think, to help orchestrate. But listen, it's exciting times ahead for Man United, no doubt about that whatsoever. Terry, Qatar are not buying Man United, let's be honest. The Premier League and FA will never allow the crown jewel of England to be purchased by human rights abusers from the Middle East. Abdul, it's not. They just have no way of stopping it. They're just, there's no grounds to stop Qatar buying Manchester United, and people can moan about it all they want and cry about it all they want. But I saw a guy actually yesterday moaning about it, saying that it was wrong and it was the place, money comes from an evil place. So I went through his social media profile. Him and his girlfriend about a month ago went out for dinner at the Shard. So I politely DM'd him and just reminded him that Qatar own the Shard as well in London. So him and his missus are having like great selfies in the Shard. What paid for that, you mug? Yeah, it's very, either way, it might not be Qatar. United are getting new owners anyway. We're going to move on in a minute. This here says, ha ha ha, United fans actually think Mbappe is going to come to Old Trafford. It's hilarious. He's going Real Madrid, Terry. That's his dream club. Listen, and I think it is his dream club. And I think that Real Madrid, if you were asking me now where he's most likely to go, I would say Real Madrid. But United get Qatari owners. There's a genuine chance that he could come to Man United. If the right money's offered to him, the right project is offered to him, then it could definitely happen. I think saying that there's no chance that Man United could sign players of Mbappe's level with new owners is a madness. Biggest club in the country, one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's good time to head for United, whatever happens. What if the owners sign Messi for a year? Listen, Messi for a year? Again, I wouldn't cry about it. Personally, I wouldn't cry about it. Messi for a year. I don't know if they will. Messi looked great at the World Cup. I think Messi needs runners and legs around him. I've said that a while. United have got legs, they've got runners around him. He could do bits. I'd like a bit more future planning than Messi at 35. But would I cry about it? Probably not. Probably not. And I get, obviously, rivals are very angry at the idea of these things happening, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault. There has been some breaking news this afternoon, which we're going to jump into. Everyone wants to talk about it. Thomas Partey. It was first put out by some really small accounts, and I will share their names soon. So you can remember, you don't always need to hear things from tier ones to prove they're right. But David Ornstein here has tweeted and said that Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey is expected to miss tonight's crucial top of the table game against Manchester City. Jess, what's your instant reaction to this? Now that the Ornsteins of this world are confirming it, it does appear that he will miss this game. He will not be in the midfield. What's your first thoughts and feelings to this?
The title race is done. Like, I don't know how else to feel about it. Like,
what? Title race is done.
Yeah, we're getting smashed today. Like, there's no way we can win without him. Not against Manchester City coming up with literally like their number one lineup. They've gotten all their players back from injury and they're going into like upward momentum, and we're having like a weird kind of like bit of form. One of my standouts for like the Brentford match was Thomas Partey. His ability to win the ball back, he was playing the ball right, like he was doing all the things in midfield. And as much as I think Jorginho will help us in some games, a game where we're not going to have as much possession as we're used to having it, I think it's just like I can't see anything but an L. And I know that sounds bad, but it's just the truth. We don't have Jesus. We don't have Thomas Partey. Like, and they've already said that Thomas Partey will also be out for Aston Villa. So, yeah, for me, it happens every single year. Every time we're gearing up for important matches, he's injured. And so, and we have a 47% win percentage when he's not there. And, you know, like, I don't know how else to feel, but I was already feeling a little bit like we'd probably get a draw or play okay, but lose. Now I'm like, nah, no way we're winning this game. It's unfortunate. It really is.
But it
kills the spectacle. Like, I feel like as a neutral that doesn't have anything to do with the title race at all, would want to see the best possible Arsenal team against the best possible Manchester City squad. But every time we come up to like the pivotal match in the season, we don't have our key players, and it's really, really frustrating. So yeah, I think we're going to lose. That's my first thought.
I get that. I think you're being a little bit defeatist before you even kick the ball, if I'm being honest with you. You also went and bought Jorginho, and Arsenal fans spent 3 days after the transfer window talking about how he isn't the same as Partey, but he's a brilliant and a shrewd bit of business. He's a player your manager wants. He's obviously going to come in. So why, if Jorginho was the right signing, why am I now seeing a kind of meltdown and sort of resignation to losing and not winning the league because Partey's injured, who Jorginho is a replacement for?
I never said he was the right signing. A lot of other Arsenal fans said that. It wasn't me. That's not what I said.
So what I just said in my question was, why am I seeing a lot of meltdowns?
When... No. Let me finish then. Let me finish. I'm just clarifying that I never said that. You know, okay. I never said he was the right signing. We'd missed out on our number one signing, and we got somebody that, you know, is a good player, but you want your best possible lineup against the best team in the league. We're not going up against, you know, teams that are like mid-table or anything. You're going against the holders, the best team in the league, most talent, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Rodri. You have Thomas Partey, no matter what people want to say in terms, you know, because people act like he's like an average player. He's just not. He's excellent for us. And so even though Jorginho can probably do well in Europa League, in games like that, I can't help but feel like we need our best midfield. So, you know?
And I understand that. So my question to you again, I'll pose it. I'm not saying you said it, but a lot of gooners, all the big Arsenal sort of accounts out there, most of the YouTubers, Jorginho, great signing, shrewd business, excellent replacement. We had a great January window. Leave Edu alone. Why are those people panicking now that Partey's out injured when you bought a replacement and had a good January transfer window? Like that's my question. To like, I'm not saying you're saying it, but I want your take on why they're going back on their word.
Because everybody does this when they have a signing that they're not sure about. They grab the positives of it and try to spin it. It's just like Weghorst. Like when you guys got Weghorst, everybody was like, I can't believe this is a player that we're bringing in. And then I started seeing things about he's the best pressures. He was actually kind of good in the World Cup. I feel like that's just what everybody does. And of course, Arsenal fans, this is the last day of the window. We've had a lot of failure in that window. We got Trossard. Nothing wrong with that signing. But Jorginho, you have to see the positives. And like, no, he's not an awful player. And that's not what I'm saying. Everybody is going to melt down. Like I saw even when Casemiro was going to be out for those 3 games, a lot of United fans were like, I don't know what we're going to do. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like it's the day of the game, a couple hours before, you're finding out literally one of your best players is out right before the most important game of your season that's been built up as the title decider. You really, I mean, I don't know how you can look beyond that. And like, I get it's like, okay, well, Arsenal fans try to make themselves think that Jorginho is a decent signing. He is a decent signing, but you want your best possible 11. And even without Gabriel Jesus, it just feels like we're a little bit light.
I understand that, and look, those United fans that didn't believe we could win any of our upcoming league games without Casemiro, idiotic. That means they don't believe in the project. There's no way I believe that we would lose points in every game, 2 against Leeds and 1 against Leicester, because even without Casemiro, I expect Manchester United to be good enough to beat those teams. The same as this coming weekend against Aston Villa. Without Thomas Partey, with Jorginho in your squad, I expect Arsenal to beat Aston Villa. You're better than them. 1 player being missing, 2 players being missing, in my opinion, isn't enough for the best and richest teams in England to suddenly fall off and become bad side. You may not win 3-4-0, most convincing performance, but you should still be winning these games. In my view, Man United have had loads of players out recently. You know, no Eriksen, no Casemiro. You know, no, Martial hasn't been there. Donny van der Beek, who was coming off the bench, hasn't been there. But you still, for me, when we're playing teams that are in from mid-table down, I still expect to win. I get your point about going up against Man City in this game. You want your best team available, and
Yeah, it's Man City.
so I totally understand that. But I think to say that's it, season over, league race over, that tells me you don't really believe in your team that much. That's how it sounds. Like
no, this is the game that everybody is earmarked as the title decider.
Everybody though, I'm talking.
But a lot of people have, and I think, and
I don't care about them though.
we've also hold on.
Let me finish my question.
Okay.
I don't care about what they think. You're here to spit your straight facts. Why would you write your season off, even if you lose tonight?
Because this is the most important game. We spoke about this privately between you and I. So, like, this is the momentum shifter. Whoever wins this game will have the upper hand. I don't want us chasing Manchester City. I think if we're chasing them, they'll get away from us. If we stay ahead of them, we might be okay. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, yes, I do feel like the title race, which is what I said, the title race is probably over, not having Thomas Partey. Does that mean we're going to fall out of top 4 and all of that? No. But the title race, which is something completely separate than our season, because again, Arsenal were never meant to win the title. So that is not our season. We were not a title favorite when the season started. This is something that it was unprecedented for us. So is the season over? No, probably still be fine. You know, are we going to still be able to fight for the title without Thomas Partey and, giving Manchester City potentially the momentum for them to move forward beyond us? Yeah, that seems a little bit like it might happen. So just to clarify that.
He's going to be missing for 2 games potentially. I think with Trossard coming in, Jorginho coming in, I think to completely write off your title hopes, and as in it's impossible for us to win the league from this point, it's mad. And I do get where you're coming from. The beginning of the season, nobody mentioned title races. top 4 qualification was the aim. And I think you've already achieved that. I can't imagine a world where you collapse so terribly that you miss out on Champions League football. I just don't see that happening. So you've already achieved, in my opinion, your objective. But yourself and a lot of Arsenal fans that come on the terrace 2, 3, 4 games ago were like, I think we can win the league, or I think we will win the league. I just expected, if there was that much belief, one defeat. Like City, for me, look, listen, you're right. City could win this and go on to a whole new level of confidence and not be caught. But City haven't been convincing all year. They haven't been convincing all year. Beat them today without time. Like, I think, again, the message of that's it, we can't win today on the eve of the game, 2 hours before kickoff, it's the wrong energy to send out into the dressing room from you as fans. You've got to get, for me, galvanize and get even more behind your team. I didn't like Man United fans writing us off without Casemiro. I felt like it puts a seed of excuse and doubt into a team that, oh yeah, even our own fans don't believe we can win. I think there's arrogance. I will win no matter what. But I still think with Jorginho, you can beat Man City tonight. They have not been great this season. Worse teams than you have taken points off them, home and away. I just think the kind of defeatist attitude, oh, no party, no win, that doesn't say a lot for this great system and team that Arteta's built. Just to stand up and say, no way, no chance. At home, away, maybe. At the Emirates, North London forever playing, the energy that your team has, the press that your team has, I think you should have a little bit more faith. Maybe not thinking we'll win 3-0, but a little bit more faith, Jess.
Nah, not for me. I've seen this movie way too many times. I know what happens to the team when Thomas Partey is not there. Every single game that we've dropped points in this season, I think, well, most of them, he has not been there. He's either been taken out or taken off early, or he was not available. So, like, it's just that statistically, realistically, we're not going to win the game without him. So I don't know what to tell people. Sometimes it's just better to be realistic.
No, and I get that. So looking back on this now, then, would you, again, you didn't really, I don't quite remember what you said, so I'm not going to put words in your mouth. January's window and not spending that extra money getting Caicedo, is that now looking like a mistake?
I mean, maybe. I don't know why the club didn't put in that third bid. I don't know why. Brighton made it very clear that if we put in that third bid, the relationship would be severed. They're not going to accept it. They were never going to sell, whatever. So I don't know what was going on behind closed doors. Maybe it was a mistake. I don't know. But we expected to have Thomas Partey at least for this important game. I'm not saying that we can't win any game without him, but Manchester City is just different. Like, it's just different. So, yeah.
Let's go through some of these super chats here. First one says, Jorginho is an adequate replacement. Remember, is what TBG says here. Lang and Sweet says, Arsenal fans thought they'd won the league. Also, Arsenal haven't won the league 19 years. They forgot how to act. Today's game is going to be 1-1. Big up to all, is what Lang and Sweet says. Arsenal win rate is 23% lower without Thomas Partey. Do you know what, though? This is where Arteta's got to earn his money. Arteta has got to work out a way that doesn't set into the player's mindset, because that's victim mentality, and you've got to learn. You've got to get over that somehow. The best teams do it, and it may not be today, but I do think being at home, being a pivotal game, this is where your manager really earns his bread and gets you through it. Adjust the team and the system to a certain way and goes, right, we can cope without it. I've seen Man United teams put Rafael da Silva and Fabio da Silva into midfield positions because of injury problems and beat excellent Arsenal sides. I'm not saying that Arsenal team was as good as this City team, but I've seen examples of that happening. I've seen John O'Shea get put into central midfield because of injuries and us win massive title clash games. That's what maybe is going to be needed from Arsenal today. I'm saying hypocrisy from Arsenal fans for saying we're too scared to say the title race when they were getting defensive for the exact same thing. Oh, that's what Joshua was saying. I get you now, my friend. I hear you there, my friend. Caicedo would have paid off big time here. Jorginho not good enough. Hope I'm wrong. Arsenal have sacrificed the title for saving £20 million, is what Enrique says here. Do you think there's some truth in that, Jess? Do you feel like for the sake of £20 million, you could lose out on a Premier League title here?
Maybe. I mean, it's always going to come back to the January transfer window, and maybe Jorginho plays today and we play fine, and it's not, just for me, Thomas Partey is on a whole nother level, and Caicedo is great, I don't know what he'd be like in a situation like this. So maybe, but we don't know what happened behind closed doors. Everybody is acting like there wasn't a real stance out there from Brighton that they didn't want to sell him. But maybe it would have just been if we had just put it, 80 million, 85 million, 95 million, whatever, we would have gotten him. Maybe, I don't know, you guys. I really, really don't. The January transfer window for me was successful because we did every single position that we needed backup in. But again, Thomas Partey is one of 3 best DMs in the league. That's just, you want him there for this big game. Even Caicedo, I don't know if he could have done it.
And that's a fair point. If we win, Jorginho plays ahead of Partey. If we lose, we can't rely on Partey ever again as a starter. I mean, that's a bit much because you should be rotating irrespective. But thank you for the super chat, my friend. Tonight is going to be long for us without TP. Is that his name there? TP5 is what King says. Thank you. Ten Hag has shown he can implement a playing style, allowing players to adapt. Kylian will fit perfectly at Manchester United. Of course he will. We know Mbappe would fit in at United. Being one of the more calm Arsenal fans, I don't think we win this game now. No chance. VAR against us. Partey out of big games. I've seen this before, is what Akil has got to say here. James says, Jess, calm down. The title race is not done. Headbanger says, no party. Oh, Lord, we will lose. Agent Jorginho was born for this, I swear, is what the Chelsea boss has said to us here. Hey, Terry, is Jess okay? I think Jess is just stressed about her team tonight. Personally, that's how it's coming across to me.
I mean, I don't know why people are acting like, am I supposed to lie and say that I feel like we're going to win this game? We're not. We don't win big games without Thomas Partey. So I don't know if I'm supposed to come on here and tell lies. And I don't think we're going to win this game. I don't think we have a chance without him. He's one of the most important players. So
I hear
what to say.
Boomaguna says Jess is going to look mad foolish and should be embarrassed at this mentality when Arsenal smash City tonight, is what Boomaguna has got to say here. Thank you, Boomer, for this for the membership. Sorry, her face doesn't look 100. She's stressed. I'm telling you, just knowing Jess the way I do, Jess be stressed right now.
Why would I look 100? I don't understand. I think people want me to go up here and say, we're going to win no matter what, so that they can come back and banter me after.
Do you know what I think?
We're not winning this game.
You know what I think it comes down to? I know you, and I haven't actually called out anything you've said because you didn't say that Jorginho was the best signing ever. I've kind of given you, I tried to set you up to be able to slam some of the TPFs, and you didn't do it. I'm a bit disappointed in you for that. What bothers me about this situation is I don't think Jorginho was a bad signing. I stand by that. But there was a lot of gooners out there that Lee Gunner called out and was right to, that were lying to their subscribers and their followers. Brilliant signing, actually better than Caicedo for all these reasons. We're fine if Partey goes down. Partey goes down, and it's like, oh my God, panic stations. And I think that for me is a frustration I have, is that some Arsenal fans this year won't call things as they see them. They wait for a bit, and me and you both know this. They wait for a popular account to put an opinion out, and then they all just basically copy paste and say the same thing, and it's ridiculous.
Again, you follow different people than I do. I don't know very many people that said that he was the perfect signing or better than Caicedo. I actually don't remember anybody saying that. So I remember people saying well, yeah, he's decent, because some people were saying that he was the worst player that they've ever seen. You know what I mean? And people were saying that he does have pluses and minuses and all that kind of stuff. But I get that some of you guys, you see that stuff. I didn't really see that. So
what we heard was, I weren't up for it, but then I heard that Arteta wanted him, so I'm 100% behind it. But then at the first sign of adversity, they're not 100% behind it, which is why I think
it's not they're not 100% behind it. So here's my thing. It's I'm not going back and thinking, oh my gosh, we should have got Caicedo. All I'm thinking is, I really wish we had our number 1 CDM right now against the best team in the league.
But at the same time, people, I'm reading comments now. It's like, but then we've got Villa. We ain't got him for Villa. We're done there as well. You don't need your best CDM against Villa.
Well, where are you seeing that? Let me see.
Go look.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't think we're gonna just
I
like
mean,
I don't think we're gonna lose against Villa because we don't have Thomas Partey. I'm saying
so if you're not going to lose against Villa because there's no Thomas Partey, you've still got a game in hand over City. Even if they beat you tonight, you win your game in hand, you're 3 points ahead of them. How can the title race be over then?
I've already explained this. This is the game that shifts the momentum. If Manchester City wins this game, I think their form and everything will turn around just like that. They have their best team available now. They have Laporte and Diaz. They have all their players available now. So for me, I think this is the momentum shifter. We spoke about this separately. So like I know you remember me saying that this is the game. We have to keep our momentum. We have to stay in front of them.
I
They get in
understand.
front of us, they might run
I
away.
understand that, but you're still, remember, you are still in control of your destiny if you don't win tonight because you have the game in hand. So losing Partey for 2 games shouldn't derail your season because you guys can go and beat Villa and then start winning games again. It's about mentality. Like, unless you're saying losing today's game, Arteta can't recover the team's mentality, which, like, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying this is what we're doing doesn't have anything to do with what Man City is doing. I do think that they'll just kind of continue their trajectory from here. Like I don't want them to get in front of us. If they get in front of us, that's my thing is that they'll be like now full speed ahead. So I'm not saying we're going to lose every single game from here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Jorginho is the worst signing and that I was just pretending that it was good. You know, I want Thomas Partey against Manchester City because this could potentially be a title decider because of momentum. Very clear what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I understand that. At the same time, you're kind of playing down people that you and I have sat there and spoke about people really bigging up certain signings, and now it's like that signing didn't even happen. You know, there were people that came on the terrace that said this transfer window has no significance in the title race. Now it's like, damn, we don't have a replacement for Partey. We're going to lose the title. When people were calling them out in January saying, if you don't get a proper replacement for Partey, could your season be damaged? It'll have no significance whatsoever.
Oh,
The
so
real
you're talking about Egal then.
Yeah, but I'm not just the gal, but people that then see. This is what happens. It isn't just the person that says things. It's
Okay.
it isn't just the person who says things. It's the people commenting. Now, I'm not saying what you need to understand when I ask you questions. And if I haven't been clear on this, and the viewers haven't got this, I apologize. I'm asking you questions based on what other people are saying and thinking to garnish your opinion on that. I'm not putting you into a group saying you're an Arsenal fan as well. You think the same. I'm saying this has been said. I did the same to you when you spoke United. I said what Man United fans have said it because I want to understand who they are, and then I can respond to what they're saying. If that's all I'm asking is, this has been said by other Arsenal fans. What's your
But yeah,
opinion on what
what you're
they've said?
talking about specifically was Egal, right? Egal was saying
Not
that
it
there's
isn't it isn't just Igal though. It's lots of people. The reason I don't name people
oh, okay.
in this space is you know exactly the beefs I've had with certain people, so I'm not naming them out loud. But you know I'm not making like. Do you think I'm making this up? Do you think I'm sitting here with my girlfriend on a stream making up lies to your face? Why 4,000
No,
people are
I'm
watching?
not I didn't
So
say
then,
that you were lying.
like, just take what I'm saying and respond to it, please, rather than
I am responding to it. I don't know, like I'm responding to it. Because you know when the transfer window ended, I had a lot to say about not getting our number one targets. And I want Arteta to get his number one target.
I know you did, which is why I'm
And
then
then I
asking.
also said, but I think the window was a success because at least we got suitable backups for every single position. Jorginho was a part of that. I don't know. I just want Thomas Partey there and not Jorginho,
And
especially because I know we won't have the ball.
I get your opinion. I'm not asking you your opinion about how you think about the situation. I'm asking you your opinion based on what other people are saying and doing. So
Okay.
that's all I'm asking. Do you get what I mean? Like if that's it. It's the same as you did with me. This super chat here says exactly, Terry. Ye of little faith is what Dello says. Terry, I agree with you 100%. Just show some real support in your team. I'm so embarrassed with Arsenal fans with this loser mentality. What kind of fans are we? Stop making excuses and support your team. KV with a different view here. He says Jess is right. That's why we wanted Caicedo, not Jorginho. We all wanted Partey replacement because we knew the day would come without Partey. And KV, listen, I don't think you're wrong to have that opinion. My question is to you, KV. What of the big Arsenal content creators who played down not getting Caicedo as not really being a problem? Go watch their content. It's out there. And now they're panicking. What does that mean about what they've said to you? No Partey. Lots of swearing emojis there from LJ. We were saying the same when Jesus got injured, but hey, Nketiah proved a lot of people wrong. Let's hope Jorginho can do the same. I think it's a very fair point you're making there, George. Very fair point indeed. Should have grabbed a Thomas Partey replacement. Zinni could have been used for cover for Xhaka, but who's going to cover Thomas Partey? It's going to be Jorginho, my friend. Jess, I'm 100% in agreement with you on this match and the whole transfer debacle, is what LJ Brown says. Thomas Partey was spotted going into the team hotel. I have also seen some other reports come out saying that he could be out there and he could be fit. Imagine this is the biggest mind game ever. Can you imagine? If the biggest, he's just there. That'd be hilarious. Why always us? Why Thomas Partey? Something in massive games. A miss. Sorry, I think you mean a miss in massive games. What Headbanger says. Had enough of this victim mentality from fans. VAR, this and that. Back the team and manager. It's the biggest game of the season. Back J5. Atmosphere wins is what TB. I do think the atmosphere in the stadium is going to be key. One of the comments earlier said, Terry, you're acting like North London Forever is going to play a part. You're acting like you'll never walk alone under floodlights doesn't have an impact on that Liverpool crowd. Televised under the floodlight games at Liverpool when You'll Never Walk Alone in this kind of scenario does something. And I think Arsenal fans feel the same about North London Forever. Partey or no Partey, today the team must win. We got mud. We would never have went for Caicedo, is what Anthony says here. Brandon says, Partey out, title race is over. Our January window wasn't good enough and Jorginho not sufficient cover. And I give you credit though, Brandon, because you were one of the very few gooners who said at the time, it's a bad window, and if we get an injury to Partey, it will be over. You didn't try and defend it or fluff it up or sugarcoat it. You called it out for what it was. I disagreed with you. I actually think Jorginho is a pretty good signing. We'll see what he does tonight. I don't think Arsenal's season as in title race is over if they lose tonight, but I give you credit for being 100% honest and truthful with your opinion the whole time. And your opinion, Zayn, was right, and your predictions, Zayn, was right, but at least you don't flip-flop, which I like to see. Oh, missing in action. Sorry, is that what MIA? Sorry, I do know what that means. My brain just froze for a few moments there. Harry and Meghan. Didn't need another content creators. Don't need the other content creators' ideals, Terry. I knew J20 was PR. Never seen a team do a shrewd signing when chasing the title. See, Kevin, I agree with you. I don't think you need other content creators' opinions. I was simply asking a question. What do you all think of the content creators that said this was great and now are panicking? I'm just asking for the opinion on that specific thing.
I think I did answer that people want to see the positives in every single signing that you guys make.
Yeah, but why do that rather than just tell the truth about how you really, not the truth as in what the facts are, but the truth about how you really feel? Why do people do that?
Because it's human nature to want to see the positives. Like, everybody does it. Even if you have, like, everybody has concerns about Jorginho not being exactly like Thomas Partey, being from Chelsea and things like that. But almost kind of like what you just said about, okay, well, backing the team and thinking the title race is over and putting that into the atmosphere. You also probably just want to go ahead and think of the positives and not put just like, this is the worst transfer window ever. J5 is not a good player, all that kind of stuff into the atmosphere as well. So I do think people were honest. Maybe not everybody. Maybe there was too much positivity around it, but I stand by what I said, you know.
No, and I get that. And I think you were right. And this was a perfect opportunity for me, in my opinion, for you to shoot down some of the TPFs. And the reason I bring the TPFs up is because they come for you more often than not. If you don't say, if someone like you, and I know this happened to you, didn't say, Jorginho, what a great bit of business, you were getting attacked by these people online. And now these same very people that attacked you for not being 100%, this is amazing, are now the ones panicking on social media that they don't have Thomas Partey. And this stuff should be called out, because I do understand where you're coming from, that there's putting positivity into the air, but there's also putting realism. I'm saying what you don't do tonight is say, oh, without Partey, it's not even going to be a myth, not a problem. We'll win this easy. That's stupid. But saying, come on, boys, it might be a bit harder now, but we can do this. I believe in you, is a positive reaction to bad news. Equally, when you don't get a signing that you want, pretending that it's good especially when you've got people that have got massive influence over your fan base, it's got to be called out. Like, and that's where me and Lee gonna agree on certain things. I don't agree with his approach all the time because I often think he's far too abrupt. And one of the things Gal said the other day, which I think is bang on, was there are no excuses. We don't win this league. It's failure from this point because of the position we put ourselves in. That narrative has already started to be changed as well to, oh, top 4 was the real target. No one actually expected us to win the league. And for me, it's kind of like, I don't like the backtracking. I've done it with Man United. I predicted 7th. Now I'm saying if we don't make top 4 from this point, it's failure this season, and criticism needs to be had. And
yeah, I really don't agree with the whole, if we don't win the title from here, it's failure. But, that's a weird take from my perspective. Because everybody was saying that it was too early for us to be saying that we were winning the title anyway. Now, all of a sudden, because Manchester City are right behind us, we have to win it. I feel like that's just, no. Like, if they think it's failure, then they think it's failure. I think, if as long as we don't fall away too badly, it's not the end of the world.
You would be the first team ever to have, I think, 50 points after 20 games and not win the league. So you wouldn't see that. You personally wouldn't see that as any kind of failure.
Not in retrospect, in terms of like this team being ahead of schedule and stuff like that. It'd be really, really disappointing. But again, we've spoke about this privately as well, that this team is ahead of schedule. And so, no, I'm not going to sit there and be like, this was the worst season ever. It's failure. Arteta should go and all that kind of stuff. Because when you start talking about failures of seasons, you start talking about, well, is this manager good enough? Are these players good enough? And nobody thought we were going to win it anyway. Even when we're saying like, we think we're in the title race, people are, well, Manchester City is this. Well, this team is this. This team is this. Everybody knows that this team is playing kind of like above their level a little bit. And so we still have a chance, but I don't get it's a failure thing. Because if we're saying it's a failure, then we're saying that maybe we should start looking at Arteta and these players. And I don't feel like that's right. But that's just me.
So, I mean, what would have to happen for it to be a failure? Would it be not qualifying for the Champions League? Like,
yeah, for me, and completely falling away, like being like from here, just not being in the title race at all,
I hear what you're saying. By the way, sometimes I know we talk about things privately at home. I have to ask you these questions online because you're not here to you're not here to let me know what you think, because I pretty much know what you think. I ask you the questions again because the viewers need to know. Because I don't ask you. I might have asked you a question yesterday afternoon when we were eating food, and I'm asking it to you again now. But that's because the viewers weren't in our living room yesterday. They don't know what.
Because you're asking me questions, and then like when I'm saying my answer, you're looking like, why are you saying that? Like, what I'm. You've heard me say this before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just reacting to it. I'm reading comments.
I don't think anything is ever extreme as people are making it out, like, all the time. And maybe I'm being too extreme about the title race is over, but that's just my genuine feeling right now based on the Thomas Partey news, because I know he's that important. But is it the season of failure? Like, okay. Like,
yeah. Well, I think everyone's got a different view on it, and I think people that we're definitely going to win the league, opportunities to go 8 and 11 points clear, to then be caught up and overtaken. I think some people look at that as you failed from that point. And I do think targets within seasons have to be agile and change. I think that has to exist. And everyone's going to have a different view. There's a super chat here that says this game is not that season defining. Stop the hysteria. Still over 50 points to be played for after this. No guarantee we win with Thomas Partey. Caicedo ain't it. Arteta mind games. Partey will play guaranteed. Can you imagine? Terry happy because United are slyly moving into the title race right now. I doubt it, my friend. We need a J20 Champions League performance. You may get that. Terry, shut up. We're playing against City. That was said for the normal match. Jorginho could be serviceable, which he wasn't even the last match.
That's a little bit over the top. Like, he wasn't as bad as Arsenal fans made him out to seem in the Everton game. But I feel like that sentiment, not the Terry shut up part, but City, you want your best players. And so the meltdown was always going to come. Any team that loses their best player hours before the game of the season starts is going to have a meltdown, unless you're like, if Rodri was out for the Champions League final hours before, you bet Manchester City fans would be capitulating as well. So I'm not really. He's one of our best players, like, So, and
Yeah,
Jorginho, we kind of expected him to maybe be in like less important matches. You still want your best players.
I hear you. Terry, the TPFs aren't ranting, it's the others. Me and you might think different people are TPFs, to be fair, D. We might think they're different people. Liverpool had 54 points from 20 games in 2018-19 and lost the league. Maybe it was slightly more points. There was a stat I read, but there was no team. I don't know when it was. We put a stat out a few weeks ago. Maybe it wasn't quite the 50 points one, but there was definitely a stat that we put out. I'll have to go back through my Twitter, and I think Arsenal had it after a certain amount of points, and no one had ever not won the league from that point. It may have actually been no one had failed to qualify for the Champions League, but I think the league would be one of them as well. I'll have to go back and have a look. Thank you for updating me on that, mate. I appreciate it. Arsenal's style is not the same as poor Chelsea's. Let's see what Arteta does with J5 before judging. Arteta wanted him for years and clearly has a plan. And that's my point, Anthony. If you're a fan that truly believed in the signing, you can't be panicking now because you trust Arteta. So at least moan after.
Yes, you can, because you want your best player. Yes, you can. You can panic.
See, again, you're not. So I don't think it. No, not if you're someone that's like, actually, I think this bit of signing is brilliant. The manager wants him. He'll do this new dimension. We'll still be this with the same. The people I've seen big it up as really good business. I don't want to see the panic from you. People like yourself who didn't big, but you're viewing this, Jess, through your lens, which was it wasn't that good a signing. You're someone like Igal, for instance, who literally said on this channel that the January signings will have no significance on what happens in this title race. I don't want to hear about the injuries because the idea of the January window is to protect against the injuries. So those kind of opinions, I don't want to hear now. You are in a comfortable position because you called it out. You were brave enough. You were actually a brave enough Arsenal fan to stand up above the precipice and say, I don't think that was that good. Or I don't think it's amazing. We could have done better. And I think that's the right thing to do, personally. Reggie here says, facts, even if we win, people will still say City still win the league because it's a long way to go. Arsenal can still win if we lose for the same reason. I agree, Reggie Perry. I agree with you, bro. Arsenal style is not this. Oh, sorry, I've already read that one out from Anthony there. I didn't see that one earlier. So how do you think the game is going to go now? How do you think it's going to go?
I think the crowd is going to be nervous because, it's just such a big shock right before a big game. I just don't think, I think the fans were more up for it. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit of nervousness. I think City will be smelling blood. They probably would look at it and be like, so happy I'm not seeing Thomas Partey in there. Anybody with a brain knows that he's one of the best CDMs in the league. And so if he's not there, that's significant in some way. And yeah, I think we'll be okay for a little bit, but I just don't think we have enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think City will dominate the ball. We'll struggle a little bit to, get the ball off of them because I don't really see how we're gonna. He's one of our best ball recoverers too. Like, it's just shocking. Yeah, so I think we'll struggle a little bit. I don't think we'll get blown away. Like, I think it'll be like 1-0, 2-0 or something like that. But I even have, a little bit of like, how we're going to score goals. Like, it's just, yeah, I'm very, very worried now. But I think we'll be in it. We'll play some nice football. We might struggle to score, but they'll find an opening. And yeah, I think they're going to be really, really up for it.
Sorry, I've got to respond to someone's tweet because I tweeted out the Partey news, and he goes, "I clicked on your video, and you're just clickbait because you were talking about Mbappe and Kane when we arrived." Oh wow! One sec, I've got to respond to him because I love people like this. People like that are so weird. They're really weird. It's not clickbait. It's literally the word clickbait is so overused nowadays. It is unbelievable. There's a private chat as well, by the way, Jess. In terms of game predictions for tonight, though, I did predict Arsenal winning 2-1. My mind has changed now, and you've changed my mind. Arsenal fans have changed my mind by their panic, by their worry. So I'm going to go 1-1 now. Is what I'm going to go with, as opposed to 2-1 Arsenal. I still think you can win. But I think there's too much negativity from Arsenal fans, and I think that's gonna, it's giving your players almost a get out of jail free card. Oh, we didn't expect you to win, boys. It's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 1-1. And now the injury is set in. Brandon here says, party or no party, it shouldn't matter because according to some gooners, we had an 8 out of 10 January window. So why is everyone worried? I knew I weren't the only person that saw that. Yeah, I definitely weren't the only person who saw it.
You're worried because he's our best player hours before the game. Like, be for real. If this had happened a couple days ago, and we had known a couple days, we'd have time to rationalize it a little bit more. Like, be for real. Like, this has been shocking news hours right before the game is about to start. Most important game of the season. So I think you can still think the window was good, but also still want your best players against the best team in the league. It's just, I don't know why that's not understood. I don't get it.
Because I think what Brandon's talking about are gooners that were like, this is brilliant. It's a perfect replacement. If he's a perfect replacement, that for me, again, it depends how you view words and how you like semantics, I suppose. If Man United have a perfect replacement for Casemiro, it means when he's out, there shouldn't be a problem. Because the replacement is... Sorry, let me just finish. If the replacement is perfect, it is brilliant. Oh, what a great bit of business. There shouldn't be a panic if that person they're there to replace is missing. Because it's perfect, right?
Yeah. I guess my difference, I get what you're saying. The difference between you and me right now is that I don't actually know that many people that did not highlight negatives on the Jorginho signing. I saw people say, it actually might be a shrewd piece of business and stuff like that. But I literally didn't see anybody say he was a perfect replacement for Thomas Partey. So I never saw that. So if people were saying that, they're deluded. But yeah, I did see people highlighting that, he's not as mobile and stuff like that, but he has experience. He's won big games before, and those things are true,
Mm-hmm. For me, I don't care. We're winning the league even if we lose tonight. I believe in my team and Arteta. Big up the Gooners. Jess, did you see the tweet that predicted all the scores plus this one? I don't know what I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah, I saw it. It said we lose 3-0.
There we go. Jess doing God's work, defending us from everybody. Defending the club or defending fans? I think Jess is defending fans today. Jess is out here defending our Arsenal fans.
Not really. Like,
well, I'm asking David who he thinks you're defending, the club or the fans, or both, maybe.
I don't remember seeing anybody that say that he was a perfect replacement. Like, I didn't see that. I saw lots of people pointing out that it wasn't perfect. But if Arteta wants him, they trusted it. I did see that.
Cool. I'd love to know what Brandon's thoughts are on that. So you all want fake positivity? No, exactly. I don't. I want people to say the truth. And you always know when people have lied. When adversity comes in, they panic. That's it. Always the same. When especially in this kind of context of football, system works. We've got a really deep squad. You get one injury. If one injury creates panic, you don't have faith in your squad. If you have to adjust your system slightly, you don't have faith in your manager's tactical ability to do that if you're panicking. I get if you're up against City, maybe, but I'm just talking generalities here in football. You see it in people. When your team's got 4, 5, 6, 7 injuries, first team players out, I kind of get there's a little bit more skepticism. But you can always tell if someone's been capping about how happy they are about things at the first sign of trouble, in my view. I think that's the same for life, really, in general. But there we go. Chelsea have had a whole 11 injured and nobody cared. One player, now we're saying you can't win the league. Hypocrisy is what DHL has got to say here.
Chelsea, you're not fighting for anything, though. Like, that's such an irrelevant. That's like irrelevant. Like, you're not fighting for anything. Like, if you had your best player go down injured hours before the biggest game of your season, you'd feel the same. But you have 12 players out. You're buying a whole new team. Like, what are you saying? Because you guys don't think you're going to get top 4 or anything. I don't know what that even means. Like,
I get that. King here says nobody wanted him at Arsenal. They said they believed in Arteta. That's all they said. But what does that mean, though? Believing in, I suppose, again, it's all about semantics and how you interpret things, I suppose. Sort of, I believe and I trust that Arteta's brought in the right person. Again, I would interpret that as if we build this into now, if you said to me, Terry, do you like the Sabitzer signing? And I said, I do believe, I trust, I literally said this to the word to the effect of, I trust Ten Hag. I believe that he has brought in, the adequate replacement of what he could do. He's good enough. I trust the manager. He knows what he's doing. I'm happy with it. I then can't panic if Eriksen doesn't play and Sabitzer comes in, because I've said that if I'm like, I think Sabitzer's an average signing. That's why I think people get annoyed, because it's like the changing of the tune. And that's just the way I am. Like with Weghorst, it was kind of like I don't think this guy's good. I said this to you. I said it on air. I don't think he's going to score us lots of goals. I think he could be useful. Interestingly, the best performance he had was in the second half against Leeds, when he was dropped into a deeper role. And maybe that's the manager now finding a better way of utilizing him. If he can play like that in most games, he'll be a great little addition for 6 months. But I haven't seen enough of like Weghorst. I didn't think this before we signed him, and I certainly haven't thought it since, that this is a player that I think we desperately need to keep next year.
But
yeah,
see, here's my point with that, though. Like, you said what you said, which is to me kind of similar to what I'm saying about Jorginho. But I literally saw your saying, like, United fans do an about face because a couple of your big accounts pulled out positive statistics and positive metrics about Weghorst. And then so everybody went, Ten Hag wants him. I trust it. And a lot of people didn't trust the Nketiah thing until they saw him play the run of games. And then they're like, okay, we get why Arteta wanted him in the team. Maybe we just have to see Jorginho in the team in a big game before. But from my perspective, I haven't seen it yet. And Thomas Partey,
but I completely agree with you. And if I'm a Man United fan, and I said this, I trust Ten Hag. I haven't been overly impressed with Weghorst, but I haven't panicked and had meltdowns when Martial's been injured. I trust Ten Hag when it comes to Sabitzer. I've not been having kittens that we've had a very thin midfield. I've been like, it's going to be tougher today, but I still believe we can win. Now, we're not playing Man City, so I understand that. I understand it. But I'm talking about the gooners who are like, I trust the manager. I believe in this. This is great. Now going, oh my God, what's going on? The world's falling apart. I just think that the overreaction is because they didn't believe what they were saying in the first place. And the United fans that capped as well. Loads of accounts cap. And they say things because they know what gets the interactions when they want them. They're not speaking their mind. They don't want to get shot down by people. And that's why I respect you, because you always say what you think and feel normally. Jess, normally when Partey is injured, Sambi or Eleny comes in, do you think J5 is better than them both? I think we will still win the game. Do you think J5 is better than Sambi and Eleny?
Yeah, he is. But again, my thoughts on the game are based on who we're playing as well. This is the only team in the league is going to have more possession than us. They're going to dominate possession. So I would like to have our best ball-winning CDM in this team. Also somebody that can help defend Haaland, because that's what Thomas Partey does. Like, I'm not just saying this for effect. Manchester City is probably one of the only games where I would look at it and say, if we don't have almost our best lineup, we're in trouble, especially if they have their best lineup. So I'm not going to turn around and say against Aston Villa we're going to lose or anything like that. It's literally just this game. J5, I need to see it, but just wanted Thomas Partey there.
I do get that. Jorginho isn't as good as Elneny defensively, if you're analyzing them honestly.
I think if you go and look at the statistics side by side, though, Elneny actually isn't better than Jorginho at anything. Jorginho is a very average, not Jorginho, Elneny is a very average player. So that's not true. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. We're going to lose today, but in which manner concerns me. I think with Jesse's point, wholesome water is if you get battered today by Man City, there could be a problem. But I just don't see that personally. City just haven't been good enough to batter anyone recently, and Arsenal just cannot allow that to happen today. They just can't allow that to happen. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. Any other questions? Feel free to throw them into us. We'd love to hear from more of you on the show today. In terms of City, we haven't really spoke too much about City. How do you think they're going to approach this game, Jess?
I think they're going to be all guns blazing. I think you saw that they were galvanized against Aston Villa at home the other day. So I think they're in a period where their form is maybe turning around. And so, again, I think they're going to be really, really up for this game. Arsenal have been in not so great form and potentially missing significant players in the team. And so I think they look like they were practicing or, kind of working out how to get Haaland more involved in the game. And is probably my biggest fear is up until this point, it's been broken between their players and Haaland, how they're going to get the ball to him and utilize him. And you saw against Aston Villa, they were playing like not a super high line, but higher than they probably should have been. And Kevin De Bruyne was just pinging balls into the channels in between their center backs and around the corner. And they were having difficulties dealing with that. And Haaland looked a lot more integrated in what they were doing than he had in previous games where he was just making runs and nobody was finding him. So I think what they'll do is try to exploit us on set pieces because we've been poor on set piece defending lately. And I also think that they'll try to hit the channels in between Saliba and Gabriel and around the corner, especially in the corridor between Zinchenko and Gabriel, and try to make us make a mistake from there and have Haaland running us down. That's what I think that they'll try to do. They'll dominate a lot of the possession, and that might work to our advantage because we haven't dealt well with teams that are just allow us to have all the ball all the time and sit back. And so maybe that'll open up openings behind their players and we can try to exploit that. But I think they will try to like hit Haaland early in those channels, and that's where Gabriel and Saliba hopefully will be able to do their job.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one indeed. It's going to be an interesting one to see how it kind of works. They're going to play those early balls in. That's what they're going to try and do. And I know that Haaland is fit. I know a lot of people are talking about him not being fit, but he's definitely going to be fit. It's going to be intriguing. There's a super chat here that says a little bit late, but as an Arsenal fan, Mbappe is not a stretch. Jess, stop being salty. United are the second biggest club in the world. Also, yes, Mbappe drifts to the left, but remember what Henry did. Is what Brennan has got to say there.
I didn't say it wasn't a stretch, you guys. I said that I don't think you buy him because you already have Rashford, but I hear you.
Dan T here says Arsenal can win tonight, get Partey fit, and we can win the reserve fixture as well. Title is in our hands with plenty of remaining games. And I think that's what's key for Arsenal is lose tonight, the title is still in your hands. That has to be the message. Go out there and relax a little bit, play with intensity, and try and go to win the match. And they have to, and again, win this game without Thomas Partey. And what that, again, mentality-wise, City is shot to bits. Arsenal were on another level then because you just won the biggest game of the season without him. That's the mentality that you've got to go into this game with. Being a Chelsea fan, they always put us through it. When we have had injuries, etc. in the past, it's about belief. I'm not going to give up on a game before kickoff. 2012 Champions League, for an example, main players out. Yeah, Gav, look, it's a big game for Chelsea tonight. We haven't touched too much on Chelsea, but how do you think they'll get on against Dortmund tonight, Jess?
I don't know. It's hard to know. I think Dortmund are one of those teams where they have all the talented players in the world. They have Jude Bellingham. They can score goals, but they tend to be a little bit, loose at the back. And Chelsea have not been great. They have some really good players that are starting to find their feet, but maybe playing against, team in Europe, a little bit of a slower pace will benefit Chelsea more than Dortmund. I think Chelsea have a good chance of winning this game, but I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be either team really running away with it. It's going to be an interesting battle between Enzo Fernandez and Jude Bellingham, who are probably two of the best young central midfielders in the world right now. And so that battle is going to be interesting, but I don't really know because when I'm watching Chelsea, I see some talented players that aren't really, meshed together just yet. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be playing up against a Dortmund team that is usually, good on the ball, but lack the ability to keep goals out, so that might work to Chelsea's advantage because Chelsea have struggled, I think, to score goals, and maybe playing against a defense that just kind of leaks them will help. But it's hard to tell because I don't really know what to think about Chelsea right now because they're not fully formed yet. It's like asking me what I think the personality of a baby will be. I don't know because they just got here, so but I do think Chelsea have a good chance of winning the game. Like, I don't think they're so far off it that they can't beat Dortmund.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? Ironically, I know obviously that you don't have children yet. Children, as they are as babies, often actually do show what they're going to be like as adults as well. Like they don't change too much, really. You get these little things come through. I think they'll do okay tonight, Chelsea. I think they'll do okay. I kind of, yeah, I don't think they're anywhere near as bad as people are making out. They just need things to click. They just need some things to click, in my opinion. And it may not click tonight, but it'll start clicking soon. I think tonight, Dortmund, as you say, play good football, but how good are they really? We will see. We will see. I think Chelsea will win. I'm going to give Chelsea a 1-0 win. I think Chelsea are going to get a 1-0 win. Terry, Chelsea are negotiating with PSG for Neymar, French sources. They could be. They very much could be. And if Chelsea can sign Neymar, Man United can definitely sign Mbappe. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Why can't we use White as a DM and play Tommy as right back? Would that work for you, Jess?
No, because those are just galaxy brain theories on players that we've never really seen play in those positions. We have 3 or 4 players in the team right now that everybody have said they could play DM. Have you ever seen Arteta use that? As many times as Thomas Partey has been injured, he's always used the player that's been brought in to play that position. Hate to break it to you, it's going to be Jorginho. Like, that is the player that's going to play there. We have to hope that he can do a job. But White as a DM, Zinchenko as a DM, these are just theories. And quite frankly, I don't want to disrupt our back line to do something in midfield that we bought somebody to play there. I think that's doing double damage. You don't need to do it,
Yeah, a lot of United players have spoke about putting some of our defenders in sort of DM roles recently with the injuries that we've got, and managers sort of pulled away from doing it. And I think that's a smart thing to do, personally. Not a smart thing to do, like dragging people out of positions, as you say. David here says, think all round it's best Arsenal win. Keep City held back. Allow United to close the gap a little bit. My Qatar list is Timber, De Jong, or Bellingham, and another CM, Xisco, and Osimhen. We're not going to get both of them, I wouldn't thought, but that'd be nice. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. We will see. We will see, my friend. But there we go. Man United without Casemiro gave us a chance to give Sabitzer game time and help Ten Hag improve. Great managers improvise. Arteta should improvise a midfield tonight. Calm down, Jessica, is what Anthony says to you there.
And you guys, you also drop points with Sabitzer, did you not? Of course, you still sometimes drop points when you don't have your best players available, So I get that he has to try to move things around, but having to do this now on the biggest game, it just feels a little bit far away for me,
I get you there. Rashford and Mbappe, I can't see happening. You'd need to bin the linesman for speed cameras if we did. Yeah, look, we'll see. We'll see. Listen, I think that Real Madrid massive chance of getting him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Man United were able to pull that off now with that deal happening. Wait, I thought City were apparently better without Haaland, is what Martin said here. Yeah, I keep hearing that, and I don't know it's necessary. Did you see what Henri said about it last night? Did you see that clip on CBS from Henri?
Yeah.
Like, very insightful. And again, Henri's right. It's about the player adapting slightly and the teammates around him adapting slightly and working together, as opposed to just, all right, it's not working, let's throw it away, let's undo it. But
yeah.
Yeah, Terry, you are very silly to say Chelsea will beat Borussia Dortmund at the Yellow Wall Stadium. Plus, Dortmund has better players than Chelsea. I don't think I'm silly. It's a prediction. If Dortmund win, then fair enough. I'm just going to go with a 1-0 Chelsea win. It's just what I'm going to go with. It's what I think and feel. I'm not saying Dortmund are a bad team. I'm not saying they're a rubbish team. I'm not saying they can't win. But that's not what a prediction is, because predictions, Samuel, are not polarized. It's not. If I predict a City win tonight, I'm not saying Arsenal are crap and could never beat them. I know that's how people see it, but that's because the world needs re-educating on polarization. They really, really do. They really do. Arsenal fans coming in with the excuses is what Hackle has got to say here.
I mean, if you predict that your team is not going to win a game, for me, that's not really like an excuse. It's just my prediction that I don't think we're going to win this game. I don't know. Should I be saying we should win no matter what when I just have a feeling that we won't? It's weird. Like, I don't know. But your prediction usually does change based on the players that are available. That's kind of like a normal thing. Like most people, I'm pretty sure if you're not an Arsenal fan, are probably saying if you thought Arsenal had a chance, you probably don't think we have one now, right? So I think that's just normal. I don't think it's an excuse, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Viewers, listen, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you. We are live after the Arsenal City game and Dortmund Chelsea game tonight. So make sure you're tuning into the Football Terrace for the live match reaction. We want you here. Jess, always a pleasure to share the screen with you. To all my super chatters, all my members, all my viewers, thank you. Please hit the like button before you leave. I know the Partey news is not great, gooners, but hit the like button for the Football Terrace either way. I didn't injure him. I promise you I didn't do that. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And